There's just so much more to hear.
Download our podcasts at DubaiI1038.com.
We're talking drones now on the Business Breakfast because trials are happening in the United States to deliver medicines in particular to far-flung, out-of-reach areas, and they're going pretty well. Joining us in the studio to talk about the potential of this here in the UAE is one of our leading drone entrepreneurs. He is Rabih Rashid, the Managing Director of Feds, formerly known as Falcon Eye Drones. Morning, Rabih.
Good morning.
Going to get your thoughts on this in a second, but first of all, this is what UPS is doing, one of the world's biggest logistics companies, in terms of delivering medicines via drones. The company's vice president of the Advanced Technology Group is Bala Ganesh, and he's previously told the Business Breakfast that healthcare and medicines is an ideal industry for drone deliveries.
Customer needs are for urgent movements like same-day delivery services, and that's a great fit for drones. And so we are working with customers right now, our company called UPS Flight Forward that operates these drones, and we are working on hospital campuses for urgent movements. However, just this past week, we announced a new partnership with CVS, which is a pharmacy here in the U.S., to start delivering drugs and pharmaceuticals to people's homes. So this is a rapidly evolving system.
So, Rabih, it's happening in the United States, but just baby steps. Could it happen here?
It could. It could. I mean, we haven't had a proper proof of concept yet. In the States, obviously, they've been going at this for a while. We've heard about Amazon since for the last 5 years. They've been trying. Google have tried, and now UPS. We've had the first exemption. They call it Part 135, I think, in the US, for Alphabet, which is basically Google, to do the first flight, and now UPS got the second one. It takes a lot of things. That permit allows you to fly beyond line of sight at night and carry heavier weights, because today's regulations doesn't allow you to go beyond line of sight. So to be able to do deliveries, which is obviously the drone have to go far away, you need that certification. We don't have that yet here, but we'll work on it, and I'm pretty sure that civil aviation eventually will issue these permits.
So you've got, this is what happened. You had a CVS, the pharmacy.
Yeah.
One of their pharmacists loaded a small package of medicines onto a drone operated by UPS. It flew to the person's home, hovered over the home around about 20 feet above the ground. What's that in meters? About 4 or 5 meters or something like that. Then dropped the package and the customer came out and collected it. So when you say we haven't got proof of concept, does this not pass muster for you as proof of concept?
Yeah, we haven't done it live here. We didn't get the permit, but as far as technology's readiness, it is ready. So we've had drones able to do it technologically for a long, long time. The only issue is the airworthiness of these drones. We don't have enough airtime for these drones to give them the full certification of a civil aviation like non-commercial airlines. So as far as technologically, we can deliver to any area. It's very easy with the GPS technology. The few things we don't have is the airspace approval and the airworthiness that, the civil aviation would be desperate to see.
One thing about this American delivery where UPS delivered in North Carolina some drugs to the front lawn of a retirement home and also a clinic, a private home. What the story says that the drone lowered from about 20 feet a shoebox size delivery of drugs as well. How does a drone lower it? Does it land and drop it, or does it have a mechanism to lower it?
That system have a kind of a pulley system that just drops down with a rope, and you just unhook it, and then it just goes back up.
Somebody physically has to unhook it, or can you just deliver it and leave it?
I'm not sure how UPS did it, but obviously you can have it both ways. So I would imagine they make it automatic, because you don't want, assuming you're delivering to houses and villas, you don't want kids or pets tripping on it or something.
Of course,
like that.
especially when it's drugs, you need some at the other end as well. So do you see that sort of being the drugs and medicines being the first use of that sort of thing here?
I think the reason we're going for this is because it's easier to convince civil aviation to give us approval when we're delivering blood, and if I want to deliver a pizza, they will be more reluctant to look into your. But when I say I'm delivering a drug, then they'd be more willing to support you. Like, I want to do blood it's happening all over the world. Japan has been transporting blood between hospitals for a long time now, but only between 2 hospitals, 3 hospitals, from roof to roof, which is easy to certify. But when you start talking large scale, it scares the civil aviation. It's a lot of work to do.
It's one of those things, isn't it? Because they can be drones very much a force for good, but it can also be a force for evil.
They can be abused. I mean, the first question civil aviation tells you, how do you guarantee the drone is going to come back in the same shape you sent it? So one of the solutions is to drop, to not land. So you just hover over that area and you just drop it.
So nobody can interfere with it.
Nobody can interfere with it.
You've been doing some trials, haven't you, with larger packages here? Tell us about those trials.
We have done some trials. We did work for a government entity here with the support of civil aviation. Every flight was with a representative from civil aviation actually monitoring every step, because it couldn't be certified, so they had to monitor every step. So we did this for a while. But
what were you doing? Where were you doing it? What type of drones? And what was the package?
We actually did from Deira to Port Dubai, so across the river. We were testing that. If you had to, warehouses or setups, so you save that trip over the bridges, so you can do that. So we proved that it could be done in 5 minutes. It could be all of that. But
what were you transporting? What was the weight of the payload?
It was about 2 kilos.
Okay, fine.
And it only literally took 5 to 6 minutes. The only thing that we couldn't, because we don't manufacture these drones, so we cannot certify them to be airworthy, to never crash or to never go into buildings and so on.
So what happens next?
If we look at the commercial airlines, we need thousands and thousands of air flights, of deliveries, and over non-urban areas to prove to the civil aviation that this is our record of flying so long. And this is what will happen to UPS. So today they got the Part 135. That doesn't give them the seal of you are a carrier today. So the airline carrier seal will come when they prove a certain number of hours of flight over non-urban areas, and eventually they will get the full certification.
Last question from me. Most of your revenue at the moment comes from its commercial customers,
yes,
but you're doing surveys
yes.
of building sites and construction
yes.
sites. If in 5 years' time we're talking and we're looking at a pie of the revenue of Feds, your company,
yeah.
and you get a little bit from filming weddings and events, but mostly from doing surveys for building sites, what percentage of your revenue, if any, in 5 years' time do you think will come from deliveries?
Well, we don't have plans to go into logistics right now, but we, being the leading drone company, we're getting a lot of requests for partnerships. So as far as plans, we don't have it. So I want to say 0, but I cannot really, predict that right now.
We will watch this space, Rabih. Great talking to you as ever. Thanks for joining us this morning. Rabih B. Rashid is the managing director of Feds Drone Company here in Dubai.
There's just so much more to hear.
Download our podcasts at DubaiEye1038.com.